So this person on the screen right now, she's a US farmer, and she's not very happy. Take a look.
I don't go out to eat.
Raising 8 boys, Erin says they've struggled before, but this time feels different.
I worry, honestly, that I'm going to lose this before my boys take over. And what am I doing now to make them want to come back to this space? Because it's a huge ask.
Now, she's just one of the thousands of farmers that are in this situation because of their vote. And in this video, I'm going to share 3 different stories from 3 different farmers. And maybe they might understand what their vote actually did. Now, who am I kidding? They're not going to learn. But we're going to watch the video anyways. And before I get started, if this is the first time you're watching my video and you want to see more from a Canadian and international perspective, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. That way you're notified of my future videos. And if you hear a cat, it's mine. It's not yours. And I think the co-host is going to be very active in this video. All right, let's get started with the first clip.
The farmers we talked with say they can use up to 25,000 gallons of fuel every year. And on top of that, they ship nearly 90% of their product overseas. So when gas prices spike like this, including diesel, they can literally lose the farm.
Fuel for me, it's a real strain. It's huge.
Erin Heidemann and her husband Deacon of Blown Away Farms in Gillum County are 5th-generation farmers who are doing what they can to absorb the rising cost of fuel.
I don't give myself a salary and we go nowhere. I don't go out to eat.
Well, Erin, a lot of people around the world are not going around to eat right now. And a lot of people around the world can't fill their gas tanks as well. But the biggest difference here is that the people around the world didn't have a choice when it came to deciding who goes into the White House. And if you think I'm being mean to Erin, it's only because she voted for the Republican Party. And this is the proof right here. Erin posted on social media that she's going to vote for someone named Drazen. So when I looked up Drazen, I thought maybe she is a Democrat, or whoever this person is. But a quick Google search would show that Christine Drazen is with the Republican Party. And she has Erin's vote, even after she's potentially going to lose her farm. This is blind loyalty right here. And this is also why, for the rest of her report, I'm not going to have any sympathy for her at all. Call me an asshole or a jerk or whatever else, I don't care. Because she's part of the reason the orange guy's in the White House right now.
Raising 8 boys, Erin says they've struggled before, but this time feels different.
I worry, honestly, that I'm going to lose this before my boys take over. And what am I doing now to make them want to come back to this space? Because it's a huge ask.
Fellow farmer Kurt Melville from Enterprise understands.
We're cutting back on every corner that we can, trying to not have any repairs and putting off things that would be normal maintenance.
Now this guy here, I couldn't find concrete evidence that he actually voted for the orange guy. So I'm going to stay neutral when it comes to him. But when it comes to the farmers that actually did vote for the orange guy, like the previous one, do you think you would be struggling with all these maintenance costs if Harris was in the office right now? Or would you be struggling with diesel costs at the moment? I'm going to guess no.
Melville has seen the price of diesel double. He just purchased 10,000 gallons at the higher price.
That's $15,000 more than it was just a few weeks before that.
He says farmers cannot pass that added cost on to consumers. Their prices are set by the world market.
If you can't produce for that, then you're going under.
And farmers say that's not even counting the costs of transporting the product overseas.
So once I sell it, I still have to pay the shipping cost to get it to the Port of Portland and ultimately that overseas market.
I bet thousands of farmers like her didn't think about that at the voting booth. But the comments I'm showing on the screen right now are actually coming from the video source. And this one right here couldn't be more true, and I'm going to read it out. The orange guy promised farmers fame, fortune, and glory. Instead, they're getting bankruptcies, debt, foreclosures, no fertilizer, high fuel prices, and losing generational land. That's exactly what they voted for. The only sad part is that the farmer suicidal rate is climbing tremendously. Now in reality, none of this really needed to happen. But when you believe the lies and vote with racism, there's not much sympathy the world's going to give you guys.
I also have to pay for everything to come upriver on the barge to be offloaded for me to use.
If we continue on into fall planting with high fertilizer and high diesel fuel and freight costs, then it's going to be really difficult. There's going to be a lot of farmers that will not be able to recover.
And wheat prices were already low. One farmer telling us he's getting paid the same amount for wheat that his father got back in the 1970s.
Now, I think this is the first time I did a farmer's report on Oregon, which is a blue state. But I guess when you get out to the rural areas in all states, the MAGA vibe is very strong everywhere. But moving on to an actual red state, it looks like Iowa is getting a bunch of grants cut just before they were going to be distributed. Man, it just doesn't seem to go well for the farmers. Let's take a look.
Now, two statewide organizations say a previously approved grant from the USDA aimed to support access to farmland were pulled at the last minute in recent weeks. Local 5's JD Snover has more on what just got struck down.
Multiple local organizations who support small farmers say they've been left high and dry with recent cuts to USDA grant funding. As time wears on, transitioning Iowa farmland to the next generation is key.
Over 60% is owned by people over the age of 65.
Tommy Hexter with the Iowa Food Systems Coalition grew up on a farm in Virginia. He's considered returning to farm life here in Iowa, but says breaking in isn't easy.
The increased cost of land and the capital required to farm are huge barriers.
Now, I don't know very much about farming at all, but I'm pretty sure these barriers weren't there during the Biden administration. And in fact, with my short research that I did, it looks like the Biden-Harris administration delivers over $26.7 billion in market access for U.S. agricultural producers. Well, right now, you have no markets, and you have high fuel costs, and you have nobody to sell to right now, all because of one checkbox beside the orange guy's name.
Programs like Iowa Valley's New Century Farm Fellowship aim to change that, helping young first-generation farmers connect with lenders and build business skills.
Many people think of farming as just like knowledge that gets passed down from generation to generation, and that is not the case anymore. So there needs to be actual educational programs or curriculum.
The Sustainable Iowa Land Trust runs a similar effort called Circle Our Cities, aimed at supplying metro areas with more local food and supporting what they call, quote, underrepresented farmers. Both organizations say they were devastated when the USDA recently pulled back millions of dollars in grants with just days' notice.
But your country is happy to spend $1 billion a day on a war in the Middle East that nobody wanted. You know, it's kind of funny. I had a lot of haters telling me that Canada is broken, that we're not spending our taxes properly. Well, Canada is not perfect. No country is perfect. But I would much rather have our problems that we have versus the ones in the United States right now. Because what's going on down there right now is a complete shit show.
This is going to set us back probably 5 years. I mean, this project was 5 to 10 years in the making.
Local 5 has reached out to all 6 members of Iowa's congressional delegation, but has not received on-the-record comment from any of them. Iowa Secretary of Agriculture Mike Nag, however, acknowledges land access is a challenge and says state programs like Choose Iowa do help.
So we know it's a great opportunity, a way to get into a farming operation, to expand a farming operation, to generate some more revenue in a farming operation.
In Grinnell, I'm JD Snover, Local 5 News.
You know, I really gotta hand it to the orange guy. I didn't expect him to fuck things up this fast. I mean, for the farmers, all within 14 months, they have no markets to sell. They have higher fuel costs, higher machinery costs. Crops are wasted. No staff because they all been detained. And now the risk of bankruptcy. I mean, what's left to screw up the farming industry? I guess like natural disasters is left? I don't know. Now this last report I want to show, it talks about how the Strait of Hormuz being closed is affecting the farmers directly. And this one's from France 24, not a US media outlet, which means it's going to make me less frustrated.
11,000 kilometers from the Strait of Hormuz, in the heart of America's farmland, this soy farmer tends to his crops. But this planting season is slightly different, as agricultural workers struggle to pay for fuel and for crucial fertilizers.
I think the biggest immediate impacts would have been fertilizer and fuel. We had, diesel was $3.50 a gallon. Now we're pushing $6. That's been kind of hard this summer or this spring for really getting planting. It's 100 gallons to fill a tractor up, if people don't know that.
I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know. But I also know that it didn't have to be like this. And I also know who this guy voted for, because he's got a turning point flag on his tractor or whatever this machine is. So when you're complaining about your fuel costs, you have nobody to complain to, because that is 100% your own doing. And since it's fuel, it's also pissing off the rest of the world as well. So I think everybody in this video right now watching it feels the anger that I have towards this guy.
As traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has almost completely stopped, farmers are scrambling to get their hands on key fertilizers. About half the global supply of nitrogen fertilizer used in the United States comes from the Middle East, mostly from Qatar and Saudi Arabia.
So I've ordered several loads of liquid nitrogen a few weeks ago, and they're still saying they're not sure when it'll be delivered. But I feel like these things were kind of overlooked as part of collateral damage that was going to occur to us. Everybody seems to be suffering. So.
Yeah, everyone, including the rest of the world. But it's not even about being overlooked. It's about what you guys did and what you guys voted for. You see, this guy doesn't even care about the rest of the world. All he cares about is his farm. He probably doesn't care that other countries around the world are running out of fuel. He probably doesn't care that airfare around the world is going up. And he probably doesn't care that innocent countries all around the world are being affected by his vote.
Beyond a simple energy crisis, the stability of food systems is at risk, as the supply bottleneck continues to suffocate the industry. On Monday, the International Energy Agency issued a stark warning.
The world is facing the greatest energy security challenge in the history. It is oil, it is natural gas, but it is also other vital commodities such as fertilizers, petrochemicals, helium, and others.
According to the United Nations, continued disruptions could potentially lead to a global food crisis if not resolved.
So how is this whole situation going to get resolved? I have no idea. I'm just a YouTuber who can't stand the sob stories when it's coming out of the United States. Because some countries will start to run out of fuel within the next few days, or up to a week. So whenever I hear these farmer stories, or like the bourbon industry stories, I won't shed any tears for any businesses that close down. Now to close off this video, I would like to thank Jocelyn again for sending this photo from Victoriaville, Quebec. She mentioned that once in the spring and also the fall, the geese migrate into this pond. And when they start flying, you're going to want to wear a hat. So thank you, Jocelyn, for sharing this photo of your area in Canada. Alright, that's all I got for today's video. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective, without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone, I'll catch you in the next one.